Hello dolls and welcome back to another video. Today is a gloomy day. It's been pretty much raining all the past couple of days, but lately I have been swamped with work and everything else, and I felt like I really needed to take a moment to kind of focus on myself and just do a little bit of self-care. And I really wanted to take you along because I personally love these beauty on a budget illustrations. I remember first coming across this and thinking it was so brilliant. They're mostly from the late 60s and early 70s, and they were made by a female illustrator named Elizabeth Berube. And she was one of the few female illustrators in the late 60s and early 70s. She mainly worked on romance comics, but she also worked with DC, I believe. It's incredible, and she honestly has the most beautiful little style of drawing. I personally adore it, and I thought I would just try some of the beauty hacks because beauty on the budget, that speaks to me because I don't like to spend a lot of money on these things. And so I really wanted to see what the fuzz was about and also just see what generally holds up because I love homemade beauty products. I think it is a great way to not only save money but also just know what's in your stuff. I usually prefer natural products over anything chemical, so we'll see. I wanted to start with this one. I'm gonna put up the pictures anyway. So the illustration is so beautiful. She always signed with just Elizabeth. You can see it down in the left in the corner. So this one says, "Beauty on a budget. Don't cry, little girl. Your skin's not the problem you think it is. And you don't have to spend oodles of money on special cosmetic treatments. Scarlett O'Hara had a perfect peachy and cream complexion, naturally. She was fiction. Real, honest-to-goodness girls, even Southern belles, rarely have perfect skin. Sensible eating and clean pores are the key to facial beauty. You've eaten one candy bar too many and your pimples are having a coming out party. Squeezing can be dangerous. Here is a method that may take a little longer, but it costs next to nothing, and the results are worthwhile. Steaming. Bring to a boil a large pot of water covered. Add a generous sprinkle of chamomile tea, available in any health food store. Some people prefer bay leaves and cloves or just plain boric acid, all of which cost very little. Having tried all three, I prefer the tea. It was a very pleasant scent, and the equivalent drawing power of the other two. It is, by the way, recommended by a leading cosmetician." So yeah, it has all the instructions here. So going off of those instructions, I've made myself a little bowl of steaming hot water. Here it is. I covered it with the towel just as they requested. I like to use loose chamomile tea, however we were out, so I just used this. Let me just throw that final one in there as well. I used, let me count that really quick, 5 things of tea. So, ooh, it's kind of hard to see, but it is in there. And it is super hot. Maybe this would be easier on a desk. Let's see. So basically, it just says to put your face in, put the towel over, and just stay there for a minute. Do this nightly for a week or 2. Your skin should be clearing up and you won't have ugly scars. That's nice. Never rub your face dry. Always pat lightly. Rubbing can spread infections. Learned something there. And then down here it says, for the girl with very oily skin that's so hard to keep clean, invest in an electric complexion brush, which I found quite interesting because I felt like these are very popular right now. And so they were around in the 60s. The final sentence here is so funny. But be glad you've got oily skin. When you're 50 and some of your friends look like shriveled up old crones, your skin will still look young and fresh. So we'll see. I got a larger towel because I think it's going to be easier to just cover my head. This is actually something I've been doing not every week or so, but every now and then because my mom recommended it to me. So it must have been like a thing even later on because my mom wasn't born until 69. So let's see. I think I'll start without the towel first. I mean, the smell is lovely. Whenever I breathe out, it comes all the way up my face, and that's actually quite lovely. Also, if I wasn't filming this, I would probably listen to some music, maybe Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, something like that. I think is perfect for a self-care day. Okay, let's try. soft with the towel. I'm gonna spare you the rest of it and just fast forward this, but this was so relaxing. Just took some deep breaths and really enjoyed that actually. So now I have to pat the face dry. I like to use cloth towels for everything. I just have a lot of these. These ones are from my grandma, the one who recently passed, which I just wanted to say thanks for all the kind comments and words, means the world. And then we also have some from my husband's grandma. But yeah, well, that was actually quite lovely. So let's see what's next. So this next one shocked me a little. I love the illustration once again. She was so good at this. Feel beautiful, look great, and your pocketbook can say the same. Here are a few tidbits that won't cost you more than a few cents. If you think your teeth can be a little whiter, use baking soda. It can't hurt your teeth, so use it as often as you like, just like tooth powder, and dazzle the world with your smile. I just want to say here, I don't think that this is safe at all. Don't try this. Like, there are a couple, and I'm going to tell you about the ones that I think you shouldn't be trying. Generally, I'm against, or I don't want to say against, but I don't use any teeth whitening products because I have very sensitive teeth. And I have a friend who works as a dental assistant, and she's always like, don't put anything on there that isn't regular toothpaste. It's usually for the best. So I wouldn't try that. And I don't think the argument of it won't do any harm holds up. Because yes, you can digest it, but still that doesn't mean that you should put it on your teeth directly. Like, I use baking soda to clean a lot, and I don't think that that is healthy to be put on teeth. But okay, the next one, however, spend a fortune on astringent. Nonsense. An ice cube is nature's best, and you have a never-ending supply, and it's hyperallergenic too. And I feel like that is something that I see people do a lot. So I also have some cucumbers here. This is all from the freezer, because there's another thing that I want to try in a minute. But we're just gonna try the ice cube thing. I see people doing this all the time, so must be something about it. This is so cold. I don't know why I'm surprised. I think this is nice. Especially the combination after just doing like the steam. The cold is really, really refreshing. Especially underneath the eyes. This is lovely. I think the idea is that it kind of tightens your pores. That is a good tip. I think it holds up. That is actually really lovely. I cannot tell you whether it's actually doing anything, but it does feel nice, that's for sure. Next up we have oily skin. Specially treated papers to carry in your purse are nice for blotting extra oil from the face. Save your money and buy a box of end papers for curling hair. They serve the same purpose at half the price. Now I have to say I have not seen end papers in ages. I don't know whether they're still a thing, but I can see how that would work. I also don't use blotting papers. I feel like they were a huge thing when I was a teenager, like 10 years ago, but I haven't seen anyone use them in a while now. And then it also has a little thing down here, make a beauty spa in your own tub. Ocean water is wonderful for toning your skin. And I have to say, this is approved and I do it all the time. Sea salt can be found in health food stores. In my case, I just get it from the drugstore. Get the coarse kind, then toss a handful in the bathtub and relax. I love this. I think that this is really nice. I also like sea salt to exfoliate. I don't do it a lot, but when I do it, I think sea salt is amazing to bathe in. And then this one down here is so intriguing to me. I need to know if anyone has ever tried this or if you would like me to try it. Hair setting gel that really gels. A pinch of jello, lemon is nice. In a glass of warm water, put it in a spray bottle and spray your hair. Your set will hold longer, look wonderful, and smell great. I can see how this would work and kind of like fall into the product category of something like Dippity Doo in the 60s, which was this gel that people used to define their curls basically. However, I'm a little unsure whether this is actually nice. I don't know, like, I know that ballroom dancers sometimes use jello on their hair. I would love to know whether this works. So next up we have this, and this might be my favorite illustration. Blend your way to beauty. Your budget remains intact with these recipes from the refrigerator. A blender or egg beater can help you keep your natural beauty the natural way. Strawberries, a delightful way to clean your face. Reduce fresh strawberries to a jelly and apply gently to the face. When your makeup is removed, the glow of the strawberry remains on your cheek. I found that really interesting because I feel like the 60s were so much about like a very dewy, glowy skin, and I can see how strawberries would actually help with that. I don't know if they stained. If I find it, I'm gonna put it up here because last summer I did my makeup with a blackberry and that worked really well. So maybe along the lines of that could work. Next up is another one that I'm a little concerned about. Lemon juice. Bleach out those skin spots or stains with lemon juice. Strong enough to be effective, but will never hurt your skin. I think the citric acid might hurt your skin. I would always be careful with everything that like is too acid heavy. However, maybe it works. If you've tried it, please let me know. But now for the one that I actually want to try. Cucumber juice makes a refreshing astringent, which I think astringent is just kind of like a toner. I would assume that that is what it means. Store in your refrigerator and use icy cold after you wash your face. So I have some icy cold cucumbers here. They are pretty solid now. So let's see, doesn't say anything about how to apply. I know people like to just lay them on their eyes, but maybe you could also kind of like tap it on. I personally love cucumber. I make cucumber and dill salads all the time. It's one of my favorite things. We go through a lot of cucumbers each week because my son loves them too. So this is nice. It's such a refreshing smell too. The only thing I'm curious about is whether this just works once again because it is cold, or whether there's actually something in the cucumber that helps, because I see people do this with a cucumber especially. So maybe something about the cucumber actually does something. It does feel nice, and I think it's a little more gentle than the ice cube, which felt very refreshing, but also did hurt after a little bit. Alright. I personally feel like I always need something on my eyes to wake them up, and this is lovely. Maybe I'll do this a little more often now, especially on my under eye bags. I feel like this could reduce swollen under eyes. I love the sound of the rain on our windows. I know a lot of people don't like to sleep and like live under the roof because it's too loud, but I think that this is the most calming sound that there is. Alright, now that was really truly lovely. Even leaving this on the skin feels great. I made myself some chai tea with the milk. I love that this summer hasn't been as hot so far. Don't get me wrong, I like the summer, but especially being pregnant, it's nice that it is now a little colder again and raining. Next up, there's this one that I absolutely adore the illustration. As said, the illustration is just great. And this almost tells a little story. The legend of those outer side fabled sun worshippers goes back eons and eons of eras ago. I hope I said that right. Yes, it's true. The sun does wonders for dates and mates. But wow, even Cleopatra must have had a nasty sunburn once in a while. I bet she didn't know the cure was as close as her kitchen. Lucky you, now you can know too. Take the sun a little at a time. Those strong rays can be mean, and to relieve the effects of the sun's ray, try soaking in a tub filled with lukewarm water and baking soda. Just about 2 cups worth. Something about the baking soda, again, must have been so popular. Now you have to understand, in the 60s, sunscreen wasn't really a thing yet. I spoke to my mother-in-law about this, and she told me that when she was like 15 or so, she remembers getting her hands on some sunscreen for the first time, and she was born in 1970, so that wasn't until the mid-80s, and she said that that was like SPF 5 or something. So I get that you needed to treat a lot more sunburns back in the day. Believe it or not, club soda puts out the fire when sunburn comes on too strong. Soak in it too. Did you ever see a chick with a blistered lip from the sun? To say the least, poor chick. Protect those lovely lips of yours with Vaseline petroleum jelly, suntan lotion or lots of lipstick, and always protect your skin from direct sunlight. Sure, the tan is a groove, but a sunburn is something else. I'm all about SPF. I use SPF a lot, but I'm also incredibly pale, so I can't really handle the sun. But I think that that was like such a fun one. I won't try any of those right now, but if you do, generally, if you try any, please let me know. And I'm also gonna link a Pinterest board down below that has all of these beauty on a budget pages in case you want to try some. Next up, we have this page that is all about oils, which is something I adore. And it does go back to Cleopatra again, which makes me wonder whether this was like a thing for Elizabeth, because she also did horoscopes, so maybe she had a thing for like the mystique in a sense. When Cleopatra was a girl, women knew that oil was the secret of beauty. Here's how to use oils, the way Cleo did, for beauty and that youthful look, without spending a fortune. Fragrant oils will make you look and smell beautiful. Make your own. Choose your own. Choose your scent. Rose, orange, blossom, honeysuckle. Put the petals of the flower in a pottery jar, not glass. Pour a little olive oil over them. Store in a dark place for about 2 weeks. Then pour off the sweet-smelling oil to bathe in fragrance and loveliness. I've actually made my own rose oil several times and also rose water. I'm gonna put up some clips here from an old vlogmas from a couple of years ago where I kind of showed that, but I've just made some rose water the other day. It's in here. This one came out so light because I used white roses because it was all that this store had available, but I like to put them in a bottle like this. Ideally, I would love an old fragrance bottle, so I always keep my eyes out for those, but until I find one, this has to do. Oh, this feels so nice. And then I just kind of like pat it in, and it does help a lot with skin irritation, I think. And then it also has an oil treatment for your hair, great for conditioning. Give your tired pocketbook a hand with apricot kernel oil. It can be found in health food stores. I looked it up online and you can find it there too, but I've also gotten a bottle from this organic drugstore that we have. It lasts longer than expensive preparations for the hair, and it's pure oil with nothing added. Heat the bottle in boiling water. After your shampoo, apply some of the oil, not much, to your hair and massage gently. Then wrap a towel around your head and voila, the most luscious head of hair you've ever seen. P.S. Try apricot oil for wrinkle lines, chapped lips, hands, rough elbows, and feet. And bonus, a drop rubbed on your lips under your lipstick will prevent crackling. I thought that was quite interesting because while I don't have that oil, I do love to buy this oil, which is also quite cheap because it's basically just chamomile and grapeseed oil. And I like to use this to remove my makeup, but this also works wonders on your lips when applied under a lipstick. And I also like to use chapstick under lipstick, especially when I don't want a full covering lip. I'm gonna show you that when I'm like there with my makeup, but basically just applying like a little bit of oil, and then you can tap on the lipstick just a little bit and kind of like mix it with the oil. And what it does and what is so wonderful about it is that it kind of dilutes the lipstick, so it turns a full covering lipstick into just the tiniest hint of something, which is truly beautiful. And I actually started buying this because of another beauty on a budget thing that I saw, which I'm gonna share with you in a second. So we're kind of like making our way over to decorative beauty now, so I'm just putting a little bit of moisturizer on my face. I have to say my face feels really nice. I don't know whether it was the ice cube, the cucumber, or the steam bath, or all three of them, but my face feels amazing. I tend to get really dry eyes, so I'm just gonna apply a little bit of eye cream. I also like to use just oil for this. Like you could definitely just use some sort of oil. Probably the apricot kernel one too. It might be a little oily at first, but usually, at least in my experience, oil gets absorbed by the skin quite quickly. I don't want to do like a lot of makeup for today. I'm just going to do a little bit of concealer. because I don't want to look too tired. I've made like a full video on 1960s makeup. I'm gonna link that here for you. But a lot of people liked a natural approach, and that is what I'm trying to replicate today. An ounce of prevention. Tacky but true. Store all bottles, makeup and nail polish upside down. You'll never have to worry about scraping the bottom of the bottle. Mascara ones get the same treatment. Tap the bottom hard just before you use it, and you'll always get the most mileage out of your mascara. There's actually another mascara hack that we're gonna try in a second, and that sounds absolutely outlandish, so I'm so excited for it. But I want to try this next one. Apply powdered eyeshadow with a Q-tip instead of a brush. You'll find that you use less, and the shadow blends easier and looks smoother. Now this does make sense to me, so I'm excited to try it. I think I want to try it with one of my Mary Quant compacts. I just have a little bit, some things here that we're going to use for the hacks. Should I go with white or blue? Maybe blue, because it might make it easier to see. This actually does make a lot of sense to me, because obviously you don't have the fallout from the brush. And I have to admit, I like to use a Q-tip with eyeshadow when I do like an eyeliner and I kind of mess it up and I have to take a bit off and then there's this awkward hole. I always fill it with a Q-tip. So maybe I will never need a makeup brush again. Okay, so I just put some on. I have no idea how much or what the goal is here. I mean, it does go on. I think it'll be hard to actually blend this. I like to use my fingers. Also, because someone commented that under my explaining makeup video, never ever use expired makeup. I didn't say that, but just don't ever use makeup from the 1960s. Makeup is usually only good for a year or two, so these Mary Quant eyeshadows are not from the 60s. I got them. They're still around as a brand, and these are new from like a year ago or so. And dry products are usually good for a couple of years, but just if you find 60s makeup, get it, display it, but don't use it on your face. You don't want to know what's in there. I mean, it does work. I don't like how it doesn't blend up here, if I'm being honest, but it does do something. It gives you that little bit of eyeshadow, of like a little shimmer. I think that this could also be great if you're just, if you forgot your eyeshadow, maybe your brush at home. You can use this, but then maybe your fingers are more helpful. I can't decide, but it does work. I have to give them that. I'm just gonna go in with my fingers to see what do I think. Yeah, I think the fingers work better, if I'm being honest. However, I do like to use Q-tips if I want to do like a more graphic eyeshadow look. I think it works exceptionally well for that. But yeah, if you, but for actual like regular eyeshadow, I would probably stick to the finger. I feel like that was easier. Also on here is this next tip that I'm definitely gonna try. Have you any old lipstick in the bottom of your drawer? Dump them into hot water, cases and all, till they're soft. Remove from the cases, use a toothpick, and then put all the scraps into one caser. Then put it in the refrigerator for a day or two. Voila, a brand new lipstick in your own exclusive shade. I think that that is such a fun idea. I unfortunately don't have any lipstick that is running low because I don't use that much lipstick, but that is such a brilliant idea. And what I found so cool about this one is that down here it says, girls know any beauty tips that work wonders and cost little, why not share them with other readers? Write to Beauty on a Budget, CO Girls Love Stories, National Periodicals Publications in New York City. That is quite cool. I have to give them that. I wish I could see these actual magazines. I would love to know. I bet this must have been so amazing. Like back when you hadn't had YouTube or anything, and then all of the sudden you get all of these wonderful tips. That must have been so cool. Next up we have this one, Stretch That Dollar. Makeup is a necessary expense, but some of those extras don't have to cost as much as they do. Need a makeup remover? Particularly eye makeup is hard to take off gently. Apricot kernel oil is the answer. It is a pure vegetable oil with nothing added, and bought in any health food store for a little over $1. The bottle will last you months. Bonus, it has a fine conditioning effect on eyelashes. I need to try that. As said, I found this one in particular years ago and then bought this to take off my makeup, and I love it. This is better than any other product, and it's basically straight up oil. But I would love the apricot kernel oil. Now that I know that it's also so great for hair, I feel like I need to get a bottle of that. But what really drew me in here was the next tip. Let me zoom you in. False eyelashes, great, but sometimes expensive. Want dazzling lashes without investing more money? Use your mascara as usual. Then dust with powder, use the mascara again, and watch those lashes grow. For really dramatic lashes, repeat several times. You won't believe your eyes, and you don't have to worry about them falling in your soup. This is so funny, and I've never heard of that tip. I have no idea whether it's gonna work. I just have some loose powder here, white, and then the regular mascara that I always use. So we'll see. From my understanding, it's a coat of mascara, then some powder, and then that should be it. Oh, and I'm gonna tap the bottom because that's what the other one said. Let's see. I think the 60s were all about dramatic lashes, so I can see how girls adored this if it's gonna work. Okay, we're gonna start with a coat. I feel like you have to work a little quicker here because obviously you don't want the coat to dry fully. At least that's what I'm assuming. I'm gonna use this brush. As said, these instructions are not the clearest, and I just get like a little powder on. That might be too much. It definitely goes on there. And then act quick. Oh wait, it is doing something. It is almost building like a second layer. It does look like fake lashes. This is such a cool hack. This is only 2 coats, like 1 coat, 1-time powder, and then another coat, and I feel like it's doing so much. The only thing that I don't like is how it's kind of looking clumpy. Let me do the other eye without it, just so you kind of see. This is such a cool idea. I feel like if you only put on mascara, your lashes look a lot smoother. But if you put on the powder as well, it does add so much drama to the lashes, which I love. Look at the difference. This is the one with the powder and this is the regular one. This is such a cool hack. Might be my favorite so far. This and the cucumber and the steam bath. So far, pretty much all of them have been holding up great. Just be careful with the baking soda and all the acids. This is such a cool hack. I cannot believe that this isn't like more widely known. I feel like this should be a thing. Why isn't it? Or am I the only one who didn't know about this? Because it sure works wonders. Let's try the bottom lashes. Even without curling them, this does wonders. And it doesn't feel any heavier on the eyes, which I like, because that's what I don't love about false eyelashes. This is so cool. I cannot believe it. Also, I never do mascara without eyeliner, so that is new for me. Girls must have been so excited when this showed up at their doorstep. What a brilliant tip. And I like how basically all you need for this you already have. Like, I didn't buy anything to try all these hacks. Gonna go for the apricot kernel oil though. Can update you in a couple of weeks or months when I've been using it for a little while. I made a little bit of a mess under this eye, so we're gonna try the oil remover. I mean, I know this works, but I just want to show you. I put a little bit on here and voila, it just takes everything right off. I like to use a Q-tip for this because you can kind of like loosen it with the oil and then use the other side to kind of like brush it off. But wow, that was a phenomenal hack, wasn't it? I'm blown away by this one. Next up we have Beauty on a Budget perfumes. Looking pretty is very nice to see, but a smart girl is even pretty to smell. We mean that she has a certain air about her that kind of moves with her. Mostly it comes from soap and water or perfume and toilet water, but it's super, and you should have it too. Here's how. Perfume doesn't have to be French and $50 an ounce to be feminine. Choose a scent that fits your budget and your personality. Add a little to the hem of your skirt and coat. Maybe even a little on a hanky in your handbag. Soft and nice. That is something that I like to do. I like to spray my clothes sometimes, and I also really love to put it on things that go into my purse. Perfume lasts the longest when it's applied to a part of the body that contains a pulse beat. And after a nice dreamy bath or shower, it works best. So apply a dab to your wrists, knees, temples, and the small of the back and between the breasts. So I have a couple of things to say about this. First of all, I never buy expensive perfume. This is the one that I have. I have a couple of these Betty Barclay ones, 3, and that's all the perfume basically I have. I love them. They're about 15 bucks. The smell is heavenly. And when I read that, it did confuse me a little because I thought that that was how everyone applied perfume. That's how my mom told me. She always said, where you have a pulse, because she said, and I don't know whether that's true, but she always said that if you put it on your wrists and behind your ears where your pulse beat is really easy to feel, it travels along the bloodstream and kind of like applies all over your body, which I don't know whether that is true, but we'll see. So I usually do my wrists and then right behind the ears. Oh, it smells so good. And then I also like to do one on my collarbones up here. Heavenly, I tell you. And I adore these perfumes. They're a little more subtle. I personally think it is so attractive about a person if you don't smell, like if you smell too much, then that isn't it. But if you hug someone and they have a really good smell, that is honestly such an attractive and beautiful thing. So that's always what I go for. However, I'll have to say goodbye to my perfumes for a while soon, because with a newborn, you're not supposed to wear perfume for a while. So I'm wearing a lot of them now just to have all the wonderful smells with me. In the same sense that I'm burning all these incense right now, because that too isn't really what you're supposed to do with a baby. So that's fine. Now before I continue with nails, let me just kind of like pull together the rest of my makeup. I'm just doing the teeniest bit of blush. I like it. I think the big lashes add so much to this look. And then I want to try the lipstick on oil thing. As said, I do it a little more frequently, but I just kind of want to show you what I mean. So when you put on some lipstick after just having put on some oil, it doesn't really go on your lips directly. Do you see it? It kind of just leaves like a little hint of something, which I honestly think is so pretty. Such a sweet little natural look. So that was lovely as well. Still haven't gotten to get my hair cut, so that is kind of what I'm living with right now. I'm so excited to get my hair cut again. Let me know if you would like to see a video about that, because I have an appointment next week. I never know what to think about the parted bangs on me. I like the look in general, I just don't know whether it is for me, but let me know what you think. It's fun to experiment with your hair every now and then, I think. Next up, we have all the nail tips. So I haven't worn nail polish in ages, but I kind of want to do today. So let's see. Always shape your nails by cutting them. Cut smoothly and carefully. Cutting strengthens the nail. You may file with an emery board the smooth side just to even out some of the rough spots. That is rule 1. So these are my nails. I sometimes get asked how I grow them so long. I don't know, they just do. But what I don't like is how broad this shape is. So what I like to do is to kind of like cut along the edges to just make them thinner. Let me show you. So I don't only take away from the length, but also on the sides. Let me give you a before and after real quick. So see, this is how I like the shape to be, and this is what my nail usually looks like. So I'm gonna cut all of them to look like this, and then we're gonna go into nail polish, which I haven't done in an eternity, so this is gonna be fun. So while grocery shopping yesterday, I came by this pearlescent nail polish, which reminded me so much of the 60s. Also, this is what my nails look like right now. And so I thought this one would be perfect, but there's also a thought on how to apply it. When applying polish, always leave a tiny space near the cuticle. The nail needs room to breathe, the same as your hair or your skin. Surprise! Polish is good for the nails. The protective coat will help your nails stay longer. Which that is a funny catch. Rule 3, always wear rubber gloves while doing the dishes or housework. Rule 4, learn how to use the pads of your fingers rather than the tips. You'll break less nails that way. And then rule number 5, don't soak or cut your cuticles. Dipping them in a little cold water before pushing them back with an orange stick is sufficient. Never use a metal stick. See how nice your nails can be if you take the time and trouble to care for them simply and inexpensively. But here's a tip for girls. If you're looking for nails like Fu Manchu, I don't know, all silver and 3 inches long, give up. It's impossible unless they're made of metal. I still have this like ice water that's kind of like coming off of the ice cubes and the cucumbers. So I thought I could dip my hand in here for a minute, and then I don't have an orange stick. So I think I'll just push it back with a Q-tip. That should work. That's so cold, but so good. Just pushing them back a little. I think the cold water is actually helping making this easier. And it does feel weirdly, oddly satisfying, to be honest. It's nice and refreshing. The smell in this room is heavenly. There's the incense, there are the candles, a little perfume, a little chamomile, a little cucumber. This might have been what a 60s beauty parlor smelled like, although I'd say it probably smelled a lot more like hairspray or something like that. Alright, I think my nails are all prepped. Let's go in with the nail polish. This is such a cool bottle. As said, this was really inexpensive. Essence is a rather cheap brand, but I love them. I think the quality is really good of their products. And you know what? We're keeping it on a budget. This is such a pretty pearlescent color. Ah, this is so pretty. Look at this. It's hard to see, but I'll show you once I've got all the fingers done. There are so many more of these. There are a couple about using ribbons and flowers to kind of like make your own DIY hair accessories. And I actually saw that before my wedding and decided to do that. So I'm going to put up some pictures here. They said that you could use either fresh or artificial flowers, and I did both. I used fresh flowers for one of the looks and then ribbon and artificial flowers for the other one. And I loved it. It was such a personal little touch to my wedding look. And it did really feel like me, which was so important to me. It almost has like a little structure due to being so pearlescent. I feel like I need to do more research on 60s nail polish because everything pearlescent definitely was the way to go. But then I know that also white and red was the classic coming from the 50s. Some people like black. I did a little bit of research in that makeup video. They look so cool. I really love it. There are a couple more nail polish hacks on another one of these slides. One of them was to put pebbles into your nail polish bottle once it is almost empty so that it kind of like pushes up the remaining polish. And I thought that that was actually pretty genius, to be honest. So I really like that. And then also just some tips on what to do when you cannot get the bottle to open again, because it is, we've all been there. A little bit of nail polish spills to the side and then they're basically stuck forever. I think that's what I really like about these beauty on a budget hacks. They're all so simple, but so genius. Like, they all solve problems we've all been running into. And then there's this final one that I just needed to show you about the woolies, because I thought that this was so pretty. I liked that they also kind of like advertised you to make your own clothes, not only for budget reasons, but I think it is also really cool if you can say, well, I made this part of my outfit myself. And I love the little woolly girls. They look so sweet. This is a finished pair of woolly legs. Add them to the layered look, and you've got dynamite warmth. This really isn't seasonal, but maybe I should try some. Like, there are a lot of styling illustrations as well. If you would like me to make a video about those, I could definitely do. But I wanted to include the woolies here because for some reason that really spoke to me. This is what my nails look like now. I think that this is so cool. Such a dreamy little pearlescent look. But yeah, I think that that is it. These were all the beauty on a budget hacks that I found and that I really wanted to try. So yeah, that brings me to the end of this video. I would love to know what you think. Which of these hacks did you like the best? Maybe take yourself some time to focus on you by doing a little bit of self-care today. It's always a great thing to do. But yeah, I'm gonna get dressed now because I need to get back into my work and then I need to pick up my son from daycare. But this was such a fun little moment to unwind. Also, I haven't fully decided how I'm gonna go about this, but just so you know, starting at around mid to late September, for about 4 to 6 weeks right after I gave birth, there most likely will only be one video a week. I might take off 2 weeks in the beginning completely. I'm pre-filming a lot of things right now to just have all the material ready to go so that then I only have to do the editing. With my son, I didn't do anything for 6 weeks and I felt like I got bored at some point, so this time I'm definitely going to do something probably, but I don't want to pressure myself. So just so you're aware, it's going to be a little more quiet over here during fall, but don't you worry, I have great things planned for you while I'm gone and then also for when I'm back. But yeah, that is all that I got for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I would love you to give it a thumbs up and maybe even share it with a friend. It supports me, it supports the channel, and it would truly mean the world. I hope you have a beautiful day. Go out, enjoy the sunshine or the rain, and don't go out for a day, and just take yourself some time to focus on you and your mental health today, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye, dolls!